Hi, I'm Jennifer McNeil, and this is my presentation on professional middle school publications. The publications that I reviewed were the Middle School Journal and the AMLE magazine. The Middle School Journal was Volume 43, Issue 3, made from January 2012. The AMLE magazine was Volume 6, Number 3 of August 2018. Both publications reflect the guiding principles found in This We Believe. Some background on the Middle School Journal is that it is published by the Association of Middle Level Education. It contains mostly scholarly, research-based articles. It is written for teachers and educators who teach middle grade students ranging in age from 10 to 15. The articles are written to meet the diverse learning needs of young adolescents and are more research-based in nature. They are often peer-reviewed, statistical, and professional. The articles found in the Middle School Journal are developmentally appropriate, and they are written with the This We Believe set of guiding principles in mind. In comparison, the articles found in the AMLE magazine are available to teachers and administrators to give them tools and information they might need to motivate and engage their students in the classroom. The articles written for this publication are written so the practices can be easily implemented into classroom practices. Some features of the magazine are its colorful appearance with current and relevant graphics. It is published more in the style of a magazine and less a journal feel, and the articles are fairly brief but packed with practical tips. A few of the standout articles in the publication for AMLE were the 3 R's and exploring the crime scene. Some of the standouts in the Middle School Journal were how to make learning matter for the multitasking generation and building and activating students' background knowledge. For my presentation today, I will be talking about the 3 R's article from the AMLE magazine and about building background knowledge, which was found in the Middle School Journal. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the authors of the 2 articles. The writer of the AMLE piece is Julie Adams. Adams is a former teacher for 14 years. She taught the spectrum from elementary all the way through graduate school. She now works as an international speaker and consultant with a specialty in neuroscience. She offers advice of best practices for critical thinking, literacy, and student engagement. Hers was the feature article in this issue of AMLE magazine. The writers of the Middle School Journal article are all 3 accomplished professors of education at San Diego University who teach in the field of health sciences. They are Douglas Fisher, Nancy Frey, and Diane Lapp. Their work in the building on the background knowledge was researched through rooted methods and deeply reflects the following characteristics of This We Believe: meaningful learning, challenging curriculum, and multiple learning approaches. The audience of both publications would be teachers, administrators, and support personnel. For the Middle School Journal article, I would say the audience would be more of the classroom teacher and the administrator who seeks to develop a piece of professional development to share with their peers or employees. As for the AMLE magazine, the audience is mainly teachers and administrators. Researchers who are developing scholarly articles may use content from AMLE publications that back and complement their research, in which case those sources would be cited for credit. I would not be hesitant to share an AMLE article with a parent in my classroom so they could better understand what I was trying to convey to their child. As for the Middle School Journal, I feel as though these publications are written for educators of all levels. The practices are research-based and can be put into practice with further examples in most cases. I would use the Middle School Journal if I were doing a piece of professional development that needed to be shared or presented to someone else. The Middle School Journal is not intended for parents of students, as it is very academic and research-based in its presentation. It is what I would consider to be a professional journal, much like a medical journal would be to a medical professional. I wanted to talk to you about practice-based knowledge. It is less scientific in nature. It is based more on the grounded knowledge through experience, trial and error, and authority in the classroom. This kind of knowledge through experience can be used to help others in the practice of teaching realize they are not alone in their efforts to implement new strategies into their current teaching methods, or to improve ways they are teaching certain students. Practice-based knowledge can also be used by others in their pursuit of more scientific and evidence-based research. Those who are writing more scientific-based research can use the experiences of others who have shared their experiences through practice. The 3 R's for the middle school success is from the AMLE magazine. The 3 R's focus on the importance of the 3 practices that can be used in the classroom. Those 3 practices are relationships, reflection, and retakes. In a nutshell, Julie Adams shares about the importance of putting a focus on relationships, reflection, and retakes as part of creating a successful middle school classroom. She refers to the practices as it relates to creating more in-depth knowledge and critical thinking skills. She focuses on the value of building positive relationships and how those positive relationships have a direct effect on social and academic outcomes for students across the strata. Adams gives a list of key points in how to grow those relationships and examples of what that looks like. She talks about reflection and how setting goals can actually enhance executive function of the prefrontal cortex. Helping students reflect on how they have made short-term achievements can encourage students as they see that success is easy and achievable. Reflecting practices include setting goals, identifying small strategies to implement, and reflecting on areas of strength and those that need improvement. In discussing retakes, Adams discusses the importance of allowing students who needed more time to have more time. Adams found that allowing that extra time ended up creating opportunities for mastery, where that would not have been the outcome had she forced them to assess at an assigned time. This is a very student-centered approach, but in the end, all of these approaches cultivate greater student competence, confidence, and comprehension. I really like the AMLE magazine publication. It falls in line with the AMLE website, with its colorful graphics, practical approaches, and short, easy to read in a few pages, and to-the-point articles. It puts you at ease quickly with precise information delivered with just a few examples. The articles don't usually leave you feeling as though you have to go back for further study. The article, in contrast, in the Middle School Journal seem to be more research-based articles and are scientifically grounded. To say that, I think that their relevance is formed through higher quality, evidence-based, and professional knowledge. Research-based practices can involve quality of programming. This is because it is based on theories that have been practiced over time and compared to make adjustments that are proven to work. This is the feel I get when I read the Middle School Journal. It is professional, evidence-based, and statistical in practice. It incorporates the practices and opinions of many scholarly authors. I wanted to give a brief summary about the article I found in the Middle School Journal. First of all, the article in the Middle School Journal, Building and Activating Students' Background Knowledge, is useful for teachers who are seeking to capitalize on prior knowledge to get to deeper understanding. The article, co-authored by the 3 professionals in education and health sciences, was well researched and purposefully planned. The article quotes many of the leaders of the middle school movement, such as Lounsbury, McEwen, Dickinson, and more. The theory is that young adolescents experiences engage their peers in learning, and that is because of this. Teachers should build curricular experiences that involve social contact. Student engagements should be their cornerstone of all learning experiences. In the article, it goes on to tell what background knowledge is. It refers to student diversity and experiences that diversity brings into the classroom. It tells about how teachers can use background knowledge to create relevancy, and not all background knowledge is equal or relevant. It then goes on to talk about how to anticipate misconceptions and give practical ways to reteach for accurate understanding. The authors provide resources to guide teachers as they recognize and reteach by giving practical examples. Some of those steps to measuring student background knowledge are listed that give many resources and examples for assessing and measuring background knowledge. They give examples such as closed assignment, caption writing, word sorts, opinionaire, and more. They then go on to begin to explain how after you measure, you build on background knowledge by using vocabulary. It goes on to list the steps of this process of connecting vocabulary to knowledge experiences. In the end, they bring it all together to tell how to use all the strategies to effectively activate background knowledge. They conclude by explaining how we need these techniques because sources of information are expanding by the internet. In slide 14, in the next slide, I give a comparison of the AMLE magazine and the Middle School Journal. Some of the differences are who writes the article, the peer or the professional, which one is practice-based and which one is research-based. The AMLE magazine presents a colorful visual and vivid relevant graphics, whereas the Middle School Journal is more of a professional appearance and does not include those characteristics. The AMLE magazine articles are usually thought of on smaller changes that are at the classroom level, whereas the Middle School Journal's articles are very research-based and have been collected on a wider scale and can be implemented on a wider scale. The AMLE magazine also goes on to provide useful links of information to help with implementation, and they're shorter in nature, and they're based on the personal experiences of teachers. The Middle School Journal uses multiple sources to back their research. They call for wider scale implementation, and they have a lot of mention of the perspectives and opinions of the leaders of the middle school movement. Thank you. This is Jennifer McNeil, and this has been my presentation on professional journals of publications.